Hello good people, how are you? Very well I hope. Following up on my last video I did on this camper, the walk around tour I did, I've got a few things I want to share with you, some kind of top tips and things you should seriously consider if you are going to build your own camper. So let's get on with it. I'm going to grab a coffee, let's get inside. Right, I haven't got my coffee. What needs my coffee? There we go. That's probably the worst special effects you've ever seen on YouTube, by the way. But you see, the quickest way to get to my coffee, because I left it indoors, I'll just take a quick sip. I'm getting there. This is what happens when you don't script a YouTube video. I'm winging it. Right, now, I wasn't going to do this video, 10 top tips on what you should do when you build your camper van, because so many people have done these before, and it might look like I'm milking it because I did make a little bit of money on my last video. It did really well. Thank you very much for watching it, and I've got a runny nose. Sorry. But no, I am going to milk it, and only to be fair, because I did sit down and think about it, and I actually have come up with a good strong 7 things that I would change, or I would have wished I thought about before I started making this build. 3 of them I've just added on at the end to make up to number 10, because 10's a nice little number, isn't it? Right, all right, yeah. I'm going to get on with it. Number 1. Now, for some, this probably seems like a bit of a no-brainer. Yes, you definitely want air conditioning in the vehicle that you're going to turn into a camper. I didn't really think it through when I bought this vehicle. I drive a Fiat Ducato as my everyday works van. I bought that off the forecourt, brand new, and it had air conditioning already in it, and I just assumed they all did. When I bought this one, it was 2 years old, 30,000 on the clock, great condition. I checked everything apart from the air conditioning, and it wasn't until I was driving it home, and I went, I might just have a look and put it on. There was no air conditioning button. I wouldn't say devastated, but I was a bit gutted, I can tell you. And I thought, well, it doesn't really matter, does it? Because how many times do I need aircon in the UK? Hardly any, 2, 3, 4 times a year. However, last summer I went down to south of France for 4 weeks. Yeah, I really suffered. It was super hot. So I have found a company who do aftermarket fitting of genuine parts to these vans. So I'm going to give them a phone call, see how much it costs. I think it's not going to be cheap though, maybe £3,000. So if you haven't purchased your van yet, I really would consider getting one with air conditioning, especially if you're going to go into Europe. UK, not so bad, but Europe, it just gets too hot in the summer. So definitely do that. Yep, we're talking more air conditioning. Now, I've gone for Habitat air conditioning because, as you already know, I haven't got it in the front of my vehicle. For many people, yeah, it's a bit of a luxury. This is the Dometic one. I think it's called the 1600 or the 1700 Jet. It's not cheap, 1,500 odd pounds, maybe more now. I bought this a few years ago. I do really like it and I do recommend it, but there's 2 things about this that I didn't expect. The first is that, you know when you go into a shop and it's like a really hot day and you walk in the door and they got that lovely aircon blowing down at you, you're like, oh, that's lovely. Or you're in a hotel room and you get in and you whack it on and sometimes it gets too cold, you've got to turn it back and it's just gorgeous. That doesn't happen with this. This is what I would call a slow burner. If it gets really hot in here, close the door, put this on. It takes quite a while for it to really cool down. You get a bit of a blast, but it's not crazy cold. And you know, I'm not surprised because it's such a small unit, which is great. It's very compact, but it does take a while. Now the benefit to it, of course, if you're going to sleep at night, and especially if you've got a hookup outside, you put it in, sleep in the bed at the back, and you know, you're cool all night. Now, the second thing about this that is a bit niggly, which kind of annoyed me a bit, is I originally thought, great, I can drive along and I'll have this on and it will keep the whole camper nice and cool as I'm going about on my holiday. Doesn't quite work like that. I've got AGM batteries and this just drains them out, and then the alternator and the battery charger and the inverter are working so hard to fuel it, as it were, that it gets really hot. So it really doesn't work unless I only have this on the first setting, and that's not enough to keep the heat out. So it doesn't quite work driving along. It's really ideally set up that either in the evening, if you haven't got hookup, you can just cool the van off a bit until your batteries die, or if you have got hookup, which is ideal, you're golden, basically. It does come with a remote as well. I'll turn it on, we'll see what it does. You'll get an idea of how powerful it is. Well, you won't because you're just watching it, but you'll hear it. Hey, there you go. That's full volume, as it were. Yeah, I mean, it does blast it out, and that's actually quite cold, but it's quite cold outside anyway. And the best bit, hey, it's got another light. It's my favourite room. It's the garage. I have got batteries in here and in here. I shall show you. We've got one leisure battery here, AGM, and we have two more over here. These are about £150 each. I've got 3 of them. What's that, 450 quid. I do like these batteries. I bought them because I thought it was the thing to do. I now realise if I had the money, which I actually didn't really have at the time, I should have gone lithium. What I've also realised since putting these in, these are 95 ampage hours each, but of course you can't drain these all the way down effectively and still use the stuff inside. With lithium you can. One lithium battery, the same power as that, I think is the equivalent of double the capacity for the fact that you can drain it down, if you know what I mean. There's more info on the internet. I'll try and put a link below because I did read it on there. It must be true, it's on the internet. I'll put a link below if I can, telling you what it can and can't do. So the point being, so if I bought 2 lithium batteries, I would have the equivalent of 4 of these then, at least 4 of them. And the best bit, it's a simple swap out. They're now making these exactly the same size, and I haven't got to have any other components and so forth. Just drop it in, plug and play. It's got inbuilt Bluetooth as well, so you can see what's going on from your phone. What's not to like? Oh, and the best bit is when I use my aircon, when I'm you know, somewhere in the wild camping and I haven't got a hookup, it should last an awful lot longer than these leisure batteries. So yeah, I would say if you can go to the cost of it, really consider lithium. All right, going handheld for this one. This one's about keeping things nice and simple. You see what I've got here? These are my fuse boards. I've got 2 panels and loads of stuff on there. Now, loads of things in this camper are all on separate circuits. I had this mad idea that, great, all separate circuits, therefore I won't get any trouble. If something goes wrong, I don't lose power somewhere else, blah, blah, blah. It's mental. The amount of wiring this took to put through the van to do. Not only that, each one of these panels is 150 quid each. And these are fuses that just pop out when they blow. In 3 years, it's happened once. 1 fuse, 1 blew. That was it. Not only that, but they're quite exposed, to be honest with you. So on the next build, I'm only going to probably one of these panels, to be honest with you. And I'm going to box it in as well, because you don't need to have it on display. I've got no idea why I went so crazy with it. So yeah, my top tip would be, keep it simple, honestly, because if I open that up now, I can't remember what I did, what went where. Seemed like a good idea at the time, but no, keep it simple, keep it simple. Now I've got a double gas ring hob here, which I'll come to the hob issue in a minute. And I've also got a 25 litre tank underneath the vehicle, which I fitted myself. So if you are thinking of going down that route, don't be afraid to fit them. I'll put a link to the company I got them from, and they're not very difficult to do. And as an extra tip, I'll show you where a really good inlet point is on the Fiat Ducatos that I got off somebody else off YouTube. So I'll show you that in a minute. Don't let me forget. When I went away to France last year for 4 weeks, I found that a full tank of gas lasted the whole 4 weeks, and we were using it every day, sort of, you know, throughout the day, and we often cooked inside as well. I didn't go to too many restaurants as it happened, and that was great. In the UK, I put the heating on a bit more so it gets through it a bit quicker, and I know there aren't as many places where you can go and fill up with the gas. That's why some people might be put off having gas, the availability of it across places in Europe. Somebody did suggest that I should go all-out induction hob instead, which would work great if I get all my lithium batteries. That'd be perfect, but I've got to get those first. But then I thought, well, my heater, that runs off gas, as does my hot water, which means I'll have to switch those over to diesel instead. So I thought, well, I don't really want to change. I can't do that here. Will I do that on the next build? And I'm still thinking, no. I think I'm going to do both. I'm going to keep the gas, and I'm going to buy a portable induction hob. And they're quite cheap. They're about £50 here, only about so big. I have ordered one, but it hasn't turned up yet, so I'll put some links below to the ones I think are any good. And this is the one I'm going to get here. Yeah. So yeah, I got kind of the best of both worlds there. I think hopefully that will cover all bases. This is the spot I recommend for your inlet for your LPG gas, just there. On the other side, internally, there's just a plastic casing. You can just take that off and you get your hand inside. You do have to drill a hole through here, up into there, to get it through. This is my sink. I mean, it is a very pretty look. My sink. That sounds wrong. A very pretty sink it is too. Big problems with it though. It's the size. Look at it. I bought this. This is glass top double burners from Italy, no less. Designer, made by a company called Can. I was enticed by its beauty, let's say, but it's not really ideal. Even cleaning around this is a bit of a pain. I will demonstrate. Here we have a regular universal size plate to eat your food from. Look, it doesn't fit like that, so you have to put it in at an angle every time if you want to wash it, and you can't get all the water on it. It's just not big enough. So that is one thing at the very beginning. If I knew this was going to happen, I would have put a bigger sink. So I would say to you, whatever you do, put a full-size sink in. It really will improve the quality of your life. Let's talk toilets, and more specifically toilet cassettes. When I built the camper, I was going to do what a lot of people do and have a hole externally so I could get it through there. And then I started seeing some people having it internally, and I initially thought, oh, I don't want that. Until I gave it more thought. I thought, well, it's easier to do an internal door than it is to cut a hole in the side of the vehicle. So this is what I've done. Right, so there is. Now that's where it is, right there. Ta-da! Now, I'm going to demonstrate. Where is it? There. Right, it's as easy as that. Oh, here we go. And it's out. Now, having an internal door, that's not the tip I wanted to give you. Now, the real tip is having 2 cassettes. Yes, that's what you need, 2 cassettes. And the reason being, if you're like me, I can fill one of these up pretty quickly. I can't believe I'm telling you that. No, I never go anywhere without a second one of these. And I don't mean shopping or anything like that. That'd be ridiculous, wouldn't it? But honestly, I do a bit more off-grid camping, and to have 2 of these, I feel a lot better. And they're not expensive, to be fair. And yeah, peace of mind, peace of mind. You've probably seen these blinds before. They get installed in professional campers. They got on the sides as well, if I can pull this around. There we go. You know the sort of thing I'm talking about. There we go. They cost about £550, so yeah, I know they're not cheap. And I didn't have them for a whole year. Went on a couple of holidays using just the thermal ones that you sort of stick on. Best money I ever spent, these are. They're just so quick and convenient to use, and it kind of gives the vehicle more of a professional look as well. Yeah, if you can go to it, honestly, my top tip, get these for window blinds. Especially, they're great on hot days as well. You know what it's like, you turn up somewhere, you're going to go out for a walk for the day, and you don't want the sun beating down on you. You don't want people spying in either. So, perfect. Honestly, brilliant things. I have spoken about one of these in my previous video. Here's a little demonstration of me using it. I fully recommend them. I saw some other YouTubers using one of these. They're about £40, so not crazy money. Just makes it nice and quick. Otherwise, you've got to get a cloth and wipe all your window and all the water's going everywhere. Yeah, great little thing to have. And my final tip for you, a very simple, easy one, bit of a gap filler, just to make up to number 10, is the oven. Oh, actually, no, I'm going to get a bit more serious on this one, because I was going to say about the placement of the oven. I've got mine down right at the bottom. I don't know why I put it at the bottom. It's a pain in the butt down there. No, try and have it higher up. It will really make a difference. But the one I've got the, I really wanted the electronic ignition, you know, for the gas at the back. But I ended up getting the, what do they call it, Piazza one, you know, where you press the button. I'll give you a demonstration. Anyway, on this particular oven, I know a few people have got it, and it breaks very quickly. The little, look, let me show you. Yeah, so strongest advice there, keep your oven high, you won't get a bad back, and get an electronic ignition, because I have to go in with matches every time, and it's a real pain. Right, I think that's all 10. Are we done? Yeah, I think that is 10, isn't it? 7 of them. I hope it was well, there we go, all 7 of them. 7? No, 10 are all. Well, I think that's all 10 of them done. I mean, 7 of them were really, really good. And I think the other 3 are more gap fillers, you know, just get to that round number of 10. Yes, so if you enjoyed this video, please do give me a thumbs up and press subscribe. I would really appreciate that. And I will bring you more content similar to this. Well, not necessarily milking the cash cow. I'm going to have to do something different. But, you know, there will be different stuff. Coffee's gone cold. I'm going to make another one. Again, see you next time. Bye-bye.